Hello and welcome to another video. In today's video I want to talk a bit about HDMI cables. I have a couple of them here, and as you might have seen in a previous video where I purchased my Adobe Ninja 5 external recorder, I also purchased the Adobe HDMI cable for about 60 euros, and at certain conditions it didn't suit my needs, or it was just too short to use properly for what I wanted to use it. So I went out and started looking at other HDMI cables to use which would fit my need or use case. So I mainly wanted to use an HDMI cable for my DJI gimbal setup in combination with my Adobe Ninja 5. So I tested a couple of cables. The first one I ordered was a Amazon Basics. So it's a HDMI to mini HDMI cable. That's because for my Z6 I use the mini HDMI, and the Adobe Ninja 5 uses a full-size HDMI. But when I was using this, this cable is quite tough or sturdy, or it doesn't bend easily. So when using this with the gimbal has to move around freely with the camera on it, and this caused the motors of the gimbal to have a lot of strain on them. Because the cable is quite tough and rigid, and it was constantly working against the motors. So I started looking at even other HDMI cables, and I ended up with this one from D-Lock. And as you probably can see, it's a completely different cable, a lot thinner and a lot more flexible. So for now, this is my preferred cable to use in combination with my gimbal setup. And I have another Amazon Basics, about 2 or 3 meters cable, which I use to mount my monitor on a stand for studio setups or living room setups, or a location where I can move the monitor away from my camera. So there are a couple of things to keep in mind when you're going to look for a cable. These are all things I found out for the first time now when really starting to look into it, and to find a cable that fits my needs. So I want to share those things with you. First of all, you really have to look at what standard of HDMI standard that you're looking for. There are a couple of different ones. The most common one at this moment is the 2.0. And the standard, I'll list a sheet up here from Wikipedia with all the standards and functions that come with it. Because basically every time there's a new standard, there's a new speed associated with that standard, and certain functions will work and some functions will not. So you have to keep in mind which standard the device that you want to use it with. So my Nikon Z6, it has an HDMI 2.0, and the Adobe Ninja 5 also has an HDMI 2.0 port. So this means that with this HDMI standard, they are capable of 4K 60 frames a second max, or maybe 120, but that's in a different format. So for now I'll just keep it at 4K 60 frames a second. So all of these cables are the HDMI 2.0 standard. The Atomos one, the D-Lock one, which one I use now, and the Amazon Basic cables. I all bought them with the HDMI 2.0 standard, which means they all support 4K 60 frames. So that's good. Then the next thing, They all claim high speed, they all claim different functions, but the main difference is, which I learned from this, is just look at your budget and look at what you need. So this cable, this was the most expensive from them all, and in the end I like to have it in my bag, just for in case when I need a spare cable or extra cable or something to fill in the spot, if something breaks, just as a backup. Of course, there's a bit of build quality. These are really sturdy connectors. You can really feel the quality. It's metal, and the cable thickness is also a thing that's an option or a function, feature, however you call it. But yeah, those are the things that set these cables apart, and also the plating they use. But for the rest, these are all four the same cables. This one was by far the most expensive. And then we have the Amazon Basics. This one was about €6. So it's a tenth of the price of this one, which is a huge difference price-wise. And for me, camera-wise, it has the same functionality. They both do 4K 60 frames with no issues. They both work. Haven't had any quality issues or whatever. And then there's the D-Log one. This one was about 14 or 15 euros. So it's twice the price of the Amazon Basics one and about a quarter of this one. But this is the cable that fits my needs. This is what I like to work with at this moment. It's flexible, it's easy to handle. Of course, you have to be more careful because it's a thinner cable, but this also does 4K 60 frames with no issues. So, and that's where, what really opened up my eyes to looking at these cables. Just really take a look at what you need and what you are going to use it for. As I mentioned, I use this one on my gimbal now. It's the most flexible. The motors have no excessive strain on them, so my gimbal works better, steadier, and it's the same quality video output that I get to my Ninja 5 monitor on the gimbal as, for example, the thicker and more rugged Amazon Basics cable. And this longer one is ideal for studio setups. It's easier to clamp to a tripod or to a light stand, and it's more visible, so people don't trip on it that easily, and it's just a nice sturdy cable. So really take a look at what cable you need, what you need it for, and what HDMI standard is supported by your devices. Because the Z6 has the 2.0 standard, the Ninja Atom 5 has the 2.0 standard. So I could go for the 1.4 HDMI standard cables, but they won't bring me all the functionalities that I might be looking for. So keep those things in mind when shopping for your cables. And that was it for this video. I hope you learned something. Maybe this helps you determining which HDMI cables you are looking for, which you need, and take a good look at what your requirements are and shop towards that. Thank you for watching, have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next one.